Welcome to another episode of the Urban Wall Street Project. I'm your host, Earl Christian III, of course, and today I have another dynamic woman in the building, very talented real estate individual, businesswoman, CEO, and now she's a publisher. The Things Men Say. Serious, ladies, brothers, check it out. Without further ado, it's Tracey Williams.
Hi.
Tracey, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You know, so I had an opportunity to look at the book and hear some of the things that men say from your perspective. So I want to get into it before, before I get into it, I want to talk about this self-publishing because we're going to call this self-publishing 101.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of individuals that want to be writers, want to publish a book or get published, and we know it's not easy. So we want to educate us on that process of going from the beginning of end of having a book published. What inspired you to write this book?
Well, it's something that's always been on like the docket for a long, long time. You know how you just get an idea and you just put it to the back of your mind and it just sits for a while and something that's brewing. Mm-hmm. I mean, the title says it all, Things Men Say. Right. As a woman, going on dates with different guys, hearing just crazy, weird stuff, and also talking to some of my girlfriends, friends of friends. He said, what? And, you know, just experiences, just life, living life. Right. And so as I would go through those experiences or hear about certain things, I would just jot them down because I thought it was funny or, you know, just worth, you know, keep a little memo journal. Right. And after a while, I had just like a huge collection of just experiences and funny sayings and things of that nature. And so I thought this would be fun to just make it into a book. And one day I just was just like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make it happen. And I just pulled it all together, opened up my computer, went in my Word document, started collecting and, you know, just editing. And I said, I'm just going to make this into a book and I'm just going to do it. And I'm not going to even worry about, you know, someone rejecting me and saying, no, this isn't hot, this isn't good. Right. I'm going to do it myself. And I did it.
I hear that. Now, you know, self-publish, you know, we call self-publishing 101 because I've had people, you know, reach out to me on the Urban Wall Street and ask me about publishing. I had another individual who, female, she published a book before as well. Right. And she did it self-publishing, but I know it was a different dynamic. So I want to kind of get into it because a lot of people are interested, but they don't know, is it expensive, is it inexpensive, is it easy, is it not? So walk with me and, you know, kind of share with us some of the beginning process of becoming a self-publisher.
Okay. It's not easy at all, first of all. And there's different paths. My path is definitely going to be different than somebody else's path. And, you know, to each its own. I would just say that I did a lot of research before. Before I do anything, any project that I get into, I'm real anal about making sure, you know, I do my legwork. You got to pay your dues in upfront. And so I would go onto Google, try to read up what other self-publishers did. I also had a lot of friends who obviously self-publish as well. So I asked them a lot of questions, would interview them in terms of, you know, who did you use for printer and, you know, how long did it take you and what was the pricing like and all of that stuff. I was just trying to absorb as much information as I could. And then after absorbing all the information that I could, then I started to make decisions like, yes, this is for me, no, this is not for me. For instance, there's one path where you can take where you can just do print on demand. And so that is good in a sense because it cuts down on storage. You don't have to pay to store your books once they're printed. Right. But I didn't go that route. I chose to you know, get my books printed up. I had them printed in Hong Kong, believe it or not. Wow. People are amazed when they hear that I had that done because, you know, just it was more affordable to have it printed overseas as opposed to the United States. So
getting it printed overseas, did you go online? How did you find the printer in Hong Kong that could make that happen for you?
Well, I also you know, any kind of industry that you want to get into, they always have like organizations and associations for that particular industry. And so what I did was I found some associations that supported self-publishers. And once I did that, they have a number of different resources that are affiliated with those associations, printers they use. What if you want to do more green kind of stuff and use recycled paper or things of that nature? And so I found a couple of resources that, and then luckily enough, my home base of where I live, I found a printer that was locally based, but they did the printing overseas.
Okay.
And so that's how that happened. But you know, it just took a lot of time. You don't jump right into it. You know, you gather your information and you cross off the list what's going to work, what's not going to work financially.
Right.
You know.
And I'm sure that's one of the biggest situations now. Is that an obstacle? Is having enough money to finance? Like what are some of the costs or estimate or a price range that someone needs to, you know, be aware? Like, well, nobody wants to publish my book. Because do you seek out self-publishing? Excuse me, because there's maybe no one is checking for you fast enough. You decide I want to have as much creative control as possible. So with that, you know, there's costs that have to be absorbed. So what might the price range be?
Well.
Or put like this, even if you need no less than this to start. It
depends on what you decide is best for you. As I mentioned, you can do print on demand, and so your upfront costs will be minimal because you don't have to pay for a huge printing of books.
Okay.
I had like over 1,000 books, really 3,000 books printed up.
Okay.
So I had to pay for that. If you don't have money and you're low on funds, obviously you can't go that route. Maybe print on demand is going to work better for you.
Okay.
I have to pay for storage for these books. My books are stored in another state.
Okay.
You know. Also, you have to pay for an illustrator if you're going to have illustrations in your book. You have to pay for a graphic designer. But I was able to, I have a marketing background.
Okay.
And I was able to just use my resources and just, you know, trying to think outside the box. And I was able to get an illustrator and a graphic designer for free.
Great.
And so I have so many people who ask me about how I was able to do that. And so, you know, I'm actually doing another book after this called How to Self-Publish for Cheap, because not many people can get an illustrator and a graphic designer for the whole entire book for free. Right,
that was definitely great. So, and I see Urban Living series, so as soon as I saw a series, that was going to lead me to my next question. Can we expect some more additions coming out of Urban Living now, which you just answered, which is yes.
Yeah.
So Urban Living Publishing, that's your company, and you started it. Did you start that because you published this book, or did you start it, you know, I'm going to publish my own book, but then I think after I finish this process, publishing books might be something I want to get into, so is that what made you go ahead and just LLC it up and make it an actual company?
Yeah, definitely. That's the route I chose to do, because I figured if I'm going to pay for the printing and, you know, put the time and effort into making this happen, I might as well be legit about it. And so, yes, I did create a company called Urban Living Publishing. And the reason why I wanted to do that is so that all my expenses that I incurred from the printing, like all the printing costs, the storage costs, all of that, those are write-off. They're business expenses.
That's right.
And so by creating a company, an LLC, and getting incorporated, that allows me to legitimize myself as a business owner, as well as, you know, so I'm an author, but I work under and for Urban Living Publishing.
Right, so you're literally working for myself. Like, I hired me to be my publisher and to put my book together.
Right.
So I'm looking at this now. I'm looking in the book, and I'm seeing some of the lines that the gentlemen say, this song is dedicated to the pretty girl in the red dress. So do you always pick up men this way? Or, babe, can you run and get me a beer? I can't believe somebody getting a beer. They're not as beautiful, but I saw them and thought of you. Now, some of this sounds genuine. Let me ask you, you know, when guys, we do what we can, and we want to say the right things, you know, and we hope that we're saying the right things. But, you know, it's always like, oh, there's another line. But is this a sad reality? Yes, you know, we're all the same species, so it's only but so many probably ways the average brother's going to come up with to say, and it might not be a line. How do you distinguish between you just saying that or it's actually genuine? How can women, you know, how do we determine?
Oh my goodness, you're not going to ask me.
Sure, because, you know, maybe it's not a line sometimes. Maybe it's really sincere. How can a woman tell? How can you tell if it's a sincere line or not?
I read off of people's energy. I don't want to get too deep.
Right.
But you can tell if someone's being genuine or not, if they're speaking from their heart. You can see it in their eyes. You can see it in their expressions. You can see if they're just, you know, just how they're moving on to you, you know. Are they acting as a predator, or are they being, you know, smooth and calm and gentlemanly? And so, You know, I think most women can tell.
All right. So let me ask you, because I know there's probably some women like, yo, I heard, sure, sister, I heard that line, I know a line. Can I hear maybe one or two of your most insane lines that you can recall?
I don't have any.
You don't have any lines?
Well, I mean, I've heard a lot of funny things.
Tell me something funny you've heard, like, well, now that was funny, that was good.
Let me think of something. Well, one thing I do want to say about the book, if I may, is that it's called The Things Men Say, Good, Bad, Naughty, and Nice.
This is true. Good, bad, naughty, and nice from A to Z. Okay.
From A to Z. And so, soon as men hear about the book, the title, they think, oh, it's going to be a male bashing book, this and that. And one thing I wanted to point out, it's not a male bashing book at all. It's the whole spectrum. You know, it's all the beautiful stuff, it's all the naughty stuff, it's all the sweet stuff, and all the bad stuff too. I mean, because, you know, I love men and most women do, and so I didn't want it to be so narrowly focused. I wanted to show the spectrum, you know, from good to bad to everything, and so I just wanted to point that out.
Now, the publishing process, self-publishing, if I'm going to ask you, because, you know, I want to stay on it, from the moment you said, you know what, I want to write a book, to the moment it was like...
Done.
Done. What was the time period?
Wow, I worked on that book for at least a year.
Okay, so it's not something you just pick up and do overnight.
No, and then the writing, you know, like I said, that was on the, you know, just in the back of my mind. I had been just like adding to that over time. I didn't start and say, okay, I'm going to write a book, and then, you know, this was something that was on the back burner.
Okay.
And so, but definitely in terms of the research, the printing process, the graphic design process, the layout, you have to really think about all the different components of a book. You have the cover, you have to do the layout. If you have illustrations, you have to have an illustrator involved. And it goes through a process. I mean, I must have went through like 10, 15 different covers before I got to that final cover.
Okay.
And also in terms of, because my book is a hardback and it's color as opposed to just a regular paperback book, which is like fiction, you know, there's a lot of time and effort to go into that, you know, in different phases. And even to develop a look and a feel, I sort of, to get to that point, I actually went through magazines and through other books and tried to find samples of what I liked and what resonated with me. And I used that as a guideline, and I gave that to the graphic designer, who was then able to really conceptually see and, you know, get us on the same page.
Right.
And then once we were on the same page, they start making sketches. How do you like this? No, the girl, she looks a little bit too mean, or no, she looks a little bit too meek. I want her to look, you know, strong and independent. Right. And so, I mean, a lot went into just even developing the look of the character in my book.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, at least a year.
And that's very important, because, you know, a lot of times, so many people, one thing I realized, and, you know, because like myself, before I started the Urban Wall Street Project, it was at least 3 or 4 years in the making before I actually produced my first show. And I talk to young people, we're so impatient. We want it all now, we want it fast. And it's important for people to realize that anything worth having, anything that's going to be quality, you're going to have to take your time, put the effort in, and be patient, you know, and it will come to fruition without question. So now, talk about support. Now, have any of your, what's been some of the feedback that you've gotten from males or females that have read the book? Because I know I got a couple back here. What's some of the feedback you've gotten from individuals that read it?
It's been very positive, I have to say. And one thing, and it's a live and learn process, when I first developed this book, and this is something else for your viewers to know, really know who your target audience is. And in my mind, obviously I thought it's going to be women. You know, and that is my primary target. But after a while, I started to realize that men are equally as interested. Right. You know,
they want to find out, well, if that's not working,
right? They want to know if it's the truth. Did I say that? No, we don't talk like that, or whatever. But yeah, men are interested in the book too, just because the title alone is just, it draws you in. Right.
Yeah. Let me see what she thinks brothers are talking about.
Right. But it's been a fun book. It's a great conversation starter. I call it a novelty book. It's not like serious reading. It's not meant to get deep. It's just fun, lighthearted, very illustrative. But I've had a lot of support, and I've had even more support because as part of marketing of the book, I figured if I'm going to do this book, I want to be able to not only do it for me, but to share it with others and also to give back. And so I decided.
Right, I know you're talking about giving back, and that's very important to me. Let them know what you're giving back.
10% of all the profits from my book will be donated to support women in financial literacy, education, and entrepreneurship efforts. And so that alone, when it came time to market the book, it opened a little bit of, more doors for me, I should say.
Right.
Because I've had some charities and nonprofits reach out to me and say, hey, consider us for donating some of your profits.
Excellent.
And so in that sense, it's gained me and garnered me more exposure and allowed me to decide who I'd like to partner with to actually give back.
Right. Now, I know something that goes into the marketing strategy and definitely launching is you had a book launch, and unfortunately, I couldn't get down there to DC for it, and I would love to have been there. But tell me, what was that experience like, seeing people coming in to enjoy the evening and see your book and just get signed by the book? What was it like having your first launch party for a book that you penned?
It was humbling. It was just very humbling to know that I had that much support and that many people interested in, purchasing the book, learning more about it, or to support the charity that I was donating to. It was after work, late at night, raining, cold, traffic, and I had a pouring of people come to really be a part of the whole experience. And so, I mean, that's sort of like the icing on the cake. That's gives me reason enough of why I did what I did, because, there's people out there to support, and there's people out there who are really genuinely interested in what you have to do and what you have to offer.
Right. Now I want to ask, because, it's always positive, but then always the flip side. When you're putting it, we all go through obstacles, whether you're trying to launch a show, a book, a clothing line, a bakery. Were there some obstacles that you had to encounter that you could, now that I know this, if I had to talk to another young person that wanted to publish a book, or older person that wanted to self-publish a book, I would tell them, make sure you don't do this, because this is something that I did and I learned. Is there one or two things that you would be able to share?
Well, let me tell you this. I'm still learning.
Okay.
And I'm still going through the process. Even though the book is done, now I have to hustle. I have to try to move the books. I have to sell the books.
Right.
Because time is money. And like I said, I have my books sitting in storage. And so if they're not moving, if they're not selling on Amazon.com, or if they're not selling on my website, then, I'm losing money, basically.
Right.
And so I would say definitely crunch your numbers and know what you're getting into. Sometimes you're limited by parameters. For instance, I had to print a certain number of books to deal with a certain printer.
Okay, right.
And so that already pigeonholes you. And so, but you have to look at it in a broad sort of way. You can't say, oh, I'm charging $15 for a book and that's all my profits. No. How much did it cost to print it up? How much did it cost to hire the illustrator if you can't get one for free?
Right.
All the different costs, even just postage alone is just like, will kill you.
Right.
And so here's a perfect example. I went to the post office to, mail out just one copy. Someone had ordered a copy, and he, the postman was, he wanted to try to send it priority mail. And I said, no, I want to send it this way, a certain way that I knew it was going to be more affordable. And he's like, oh, it's only 50 cents more. 50 cents more makes a heck of a difference in the publishing industry in terms of your profit margin. Even 50 cents. You think that's just change on the street, but no, that affects your profit margin. And so you have to be really good at crunching and managing your numbers. And I would say definitely try to join an association that can help walk you through the process. There's so much information out there on self-publishing, it's unbelievable. And you just don't hop in it with 2 feet. Just dip your toe in the water and feel it out. On my website, I'm going to have information on how I self-published and, the process and all of that. And I'd be glad to reach out and give people information if they want it.
Now, if you wanted to get it into, like maybe not a major bookstore. I mean, of course you could, but, of course in every community there's smaller, I won't say mom and pops. They're trying big business trying to push them up, but still mom and pop stores, bookstores that carry books. How would you go about, how would you go about getting into one of those type of stores?
It's not easy. I say start locally first. That's what I did. Start in your neighborhood where you live. You know that area, and really think about your target audience once again.
Right.
So for instance, my book, Things Men Say, I thought the way I positioned my book was, this is going to be targeted to an urban woman, very smart, very savvy, think sort of like Sex in the City kind of, you know, very modern kind of woman. So I looked for fashionable boutiques and stores in my neighborhood where these women shop.
Right.
And so I actually went in there and would approach some of the business owners and say, hey, I have this book. It seems like a great fit for your target audience. Would this be something you'd be interested in carrying in your book, in your store? And so that's number one. And then number two is Amazon.com, obviously. That's another route to, you know, you submit your book, and if they accept you, your book will be, you know, online everywhere. And then the next step is getting with a wholesaler or a distributor, which I'm currently in the process of trying to do.
Okay.
There's some major wholesalers and distributors out there. And once you affiliate yourselves with them, then they sort of open up the pipeline to getting your books into like major bookstores, like a Barnes and Noble or what have you. It's not easy. It's a very tough business. But I would say definitely partner with a wholesale and distributor. And what you do is, I mean, easily enough, a Google search or through the associations out there, you can get some of the top ones out there. And they usually ask you to submit a book sample and a marketing plan. So you have to know, like, you know, a little bit about, you have to have a game plan on how you're going to market this book, because all they're going to do is open up the pipeline. But in terms of moving the books, you still have to do all your marketing on your own. And
now does that come with the fact that you're self-published? Because if you had a publisher, that's a partnership. So then there's someone else kind of absorbing some of the costs, and well, they're absorbing it because they're going to get on the back end, but they would be doing a whole lot of it. But the flip side is, when you do self-publish it, when your book sells 1 million copies, then you don't have to give somebody 30, 40, 50% of your money.
Absolutely.
And that's a beautiful thing. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Okay. So so the books are, do you have it in a, so you have it in a couple of little local stores in the DC area?
Yep,
okay.
I have a couple of stores that are carrying it, and like I said, I'm trying to get with a wholesale and a distributor to open up the pipeline a lot more, and I'm just constantly making sure that my book is in the public eye as much as possible. What I've done is I've constant contact with bloggers out there, letting them know what I'm doing, asking them if they're interested in interviewing me. So I've had people interview me online. Also, other things I'm trying to do, which some of your viewers can do, write articles about the topic and submit them online, and then include a URL leading to your book or to Amazon.com.
Okay.
You know, I did a book trailer, a video book trailer to give me more exposure, so it's on YouTube and everywhere else.
Okay.
As much as you can do to give your book exposure. You can't just sit there and just wait for it to move itself.
Definitely. And I'm thinking about it, I did a recent show with April Silver. She also went to Howard. And she has a company, Aquila Work Songs, and it's probably a communications firm. But something that she has that I think would be very beneficial to you, because I'm going to actually do it for myself, is something she called Put on Blast. And it's an email blast about, you know, whether it's anything in the public eye. She's worked with major A-listers, from the Cosbys, from Mos Def, Talib Kweli, Sonia Sanchez, but she does a whole lot. But I think that their email database is probably huge. So, and it's not even expensive. I mean, you know, marginally, we're a business person, so you know what's expensive. But the fact that she puts it on blast, it's like, it's a big bulletin.
Absolutely. You have to do that.
Right, so when you put that on full blast, so that could be another you know, avenue that you can take to really, you know, get that exposure. You know, I'm going to do, you know, everything we can, you know, the Urban Wall Street project to make it happen, because I read some and I think it's a great book. I definitely think it's a great coffee table book, like you said, novelty book. Or just something to start a nice conversation, naughty things, you know. I mean, a lot of, you know, I like the naughty and nice, because, you know, me sometimes, you know, I can tend to be naughty. And I think it would be good because maybe they give individuals the opportunity to realize, you know, how maybe if you want to be naughty, you want to be nice, maybe you won't be so offensive. So fellas, you know, sometimes take a chance and say that to the young lady. All my people at home, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank Ms. Williams for being here. You know, we always trying to bring you solid information that can just really take you to the next level, to help you get your business off the ground, help you grow your business, walk with your business. And you know, it's all about it. The things men say, the good, the bad, the naughty, and nice, from A to Z. I think it's an excellent read, definitely fun. I appreciate my guests for being here, so definitely check out the website, www.the the thingsmensaybook.com. Check her out at Urban Girl Living, I should say, Urban Living Publishing. And it's a beautiful situation. If you want to be self-published, check her out on her website. Go to her site, get that information. She's a very thorough, knowledgeable woman. I'm sure she'll be willing to help you. Like I always say, keep your head up, be mindful, be prosperous, stay positive and creative. Till next time, peace.